Um, I want to go over this morning. Again, one of the things on the next video is the recipe for the successful used car dealer. When I got started, the first thing that I did was calculate. It's a normal question is, how much money can I make? How much money will it take me to survive? The lower your overhead is, the better your opportunity to succeed. And so when I first got started, I thought, okay, well, if I got in this car lot, and I needed the car lot, me in particular, because the wholesale programs at that time were pretty limited. Indiana was big in it, but since then, a lot of people have jumped in, extending buying privileges on their license. I don't like the word renting their license because they're not renting their license. Rental means that someone's taking over their license, and nobody's going to take over my license, and so I give people the privilege. But anyway, let's get back to the formula. I decided at that time my overhead, and just it's about the same as it costs you to be in this program. Why do we price it at $395 a month? Well, basically it's designed for you to at least sell 2 cars. Now, we talk about processing fees, and we talk about lot fees, and we talk about a lot of things like that. But when you are selling your cars, you automatically have to put one fee on there. You want as much profit as you can make. But for instance, would be if I go out, and this works this very way with me today. If I go out to the auction and I buy that car for $700, $800 after the auction fees, well, I've shelled out the $800 in cash. While that car is on the road and headed back to the lot or wherever I'm going to take it to sell it, it just incurred a $200 fee. So I go from $800 to what I paid for it to now I've got $1,000 in it. Okay, now why did it jump up that $200? Because I assess every car I buy with a buyer's fee. It takes my time to go to the auction. It takes, even though it's all my money now, make no mistake, but I break it up in separate to where that now I've got my time at the auction, my expenses for transporting the car. I automatically charge every car that $200 fee. So that fee is based on if you do the same thing or I do the same thing, that 2 cars pays my overhead. I started out realizing that my overhead, I built in my overhead. It's like a fixed income. That every car I sell, I don't calculate any profit on there until that car has been paid back for what it cost me to get it at the auction, and until I've earned that at least $200 buyer's fee. So when a person comes to me and they buy a car, and let's say I sold that car for $2,000, the first money that I put back in the pot is that $1,000. And I even divide it up. I put my $800 that I originally started with on the car in one pot, then I put my $200 in the overhead pot. So when it comes time of the month that I look, I don't really have to calculate how many cars that I sold to pay my overhead, because I'm automatically paying my overhead with every sale. And so here we're designed that if you take 2 cars a month, you assess those 2 cars with the $200 processing fee that you are charging yourself. That processing fee is what pays the overhead. Now, there's 3 of us here in this dealership, and we all pay that $200 to the dealership. The dealership is an entity. It has its own federal ID number or social. It's a separate entity from us. So every car we sell, we put that $200 aside for that dealership overhead. Now we're in a situation to where that now, we average selling 30 to 40 cars a month, and sometimes 50 cars a month. But at any rate, you can imagine we've got our overhead fixed on where 2 to 3 cars at the most pays for our overhead. So when we sell 30 cars, not only do we pay for the overhead, but we share in the amount over that. We often, last month, just to be honest with you, in our processing fees that we had paid, and a lot of our other wholesalers paid that operate here off of this car lot, they pay $200 per car as well. So last month, our overhead hit right at, I think it was 38, 39 cars. So the dealership itself, the entity, took in right at $7,000 in overhead only. Now that more than paid our bills that month, and so the three of us divided the rest of that money as dividends. That's our dividends. That's our own. There's a lots. There are some months that it barely pays the overhead with the sales. But some months we have a lot, but it's always there. We never spend that money. That $200 per car is put in the overhead box. That's dealer disbursements. Those disbursements will go to the rent, the utilities, the internet. Nobody takes a salary out of those disbursements unless there's additional money over what we process or what our overhead is. So you want to pay your overhead first. That's what we do. We make sure that every car here contributes to going paying the overhead. And then your salary is anything above that. I mean, the average customer or the average salesperson out here, if their negotiation skills are pretty good, if you're a shy, timid person, it's not going to work for you. But if your negotiation skills are pretty good, most of us start out to where we're averaging a net profit of $1,000. I think our net profit per car is around $1,000 to $1,100 per car. Now, when you do that, that you're working out of that, $1,000, $1,100 a car, you can see that if you're selling 5 or 6 cars a month, your profit is around $5,000 to $6,000 after you've paid your overhead. So that's where you're at. So it's how you divide your money up. You continuously got to be contributing to that overhead, and we do it a little at a time. So come the end of the month and when the bills are due, we never have to be scrambling around saying, well, where are we going to get the money? Because we've been putting that money aside with every sale that we did. Now, some people out there talk about, well, what if you don't sell anything? Car dealers, there's no such thing as you don't sell everything because we have so many outlets. I have people that come up and say, well, what are you going to do if you don't sell that car? I can take the car to the auction and convert it to cash. Now, will I convert it to cash that I potentially could have made from a retail sale from a customer, or advertising it on Craigslist, or advertising it on Facebook? But as a car dealer, it's always cash. I never have to worry about it because I know where to get cash immediately. I can drive over here to the sale, run it through the lanes, walk in the office and pick up my check and go home. And so that's the advantage of being a car dealer. You don't get stuck with cars. Car dealers don't get stuck with cars. That's why they're car auctions. And so, and that's the benefit of being a car dealer. You've always got cash. It's whether or not you want to settle for that cash amount through an auction, or you want to play your cards and try to retail the car and make a little bit more money off of Craigslist, making a little bit of money. And you people that are on Craigslist do not have that opportunity. When you buy a car, if you don't find a retail customer for that car, you're stuck with it if you don't have a dealer's license. That doesn't happen to us. We're never stuck with anything. There's always cash on the table at a dealer-only auction. So that's what I've got for you on the formula that we use. I hope that helps you. Please like and share this video.